Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning. Welcome to Pen Vicarage. Hope you've had a lovely weekend and a lovely bank holiday as well. And thank you for joining us for our Bible reflection today. And today we're in Joshua and chapter 22. So here we go, straight on with it. Joshua chapter 22. Then Joshua summoned the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, "You've observed all that Moses the servant of the Lord commanded you, and have obeyed me in all I've commanded you. You have not forsaken your kindred these many days, down to this day, but you've been careful to keep the charge of the Lord your God. And now the Lord your God has given rest to your kindred, as he promised them. Therefore turn and go to your tents in the land where your possession lies, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you on the other side of the Jordan. Take good care to observe the commandment and instruction that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments, and to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul." So Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents. Now to the one half of the tribe of Manasseh, Moses had given a possession in Bashan, but to the other half, Joshua had given a possession beside their fellow Israelites in the land west of the Jordan. And when Joshua sent them away to their tents and blessed them, he said to them, "Go back to your tents with much wealth, and with very much livestock, with silver, gold, bronze, and iron, with a great quantity of clothing. Divide the spoil of your enemies with your kindred." So the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh returned home, parting from the Israelites at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the land of Gilead, their own land, of which they had taken possession by command of the Lord through Moses. When they came to the region near the Jordan that lies in the land of the Canaan, the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh built there an altar by the Jordan, an altar of great size. The Israelites heard that the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh built an altar on the frontier of the land of Canaan in the region near the Jordan, on the side that belongs to the Israelites. And when the people of Israel heard it, the whole assembly of the Israelites gathered at Shiloh to make war against them. And the Israelites sent the priest Phinehas, son of Eleazar, to the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half-tribe of Manasseh in the land of Gilead, and with him 10 chiefs, one from each of the tribal families of Israel, every one of them the head of a family among the clans of Israel. They came to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in the land of Gilead, and said to them, "Thus says the whole congregation of the Lord, what is this treachery you've committed against the God of Israel, in turning away today from following the Lord, by building yourself an altar today in rebellion against the Lord? Have we not had enough of the sin of Peor, from which even yet we have not yet cleansed ourselves, and for which a plague came upon the congregation of the Lord, that you may turn away today from following the Lord? If you rebel against the Lord today, you'll be angry with the whole congregation of Israel tomorrow. But now, if your land is unclean, cross over into the Lord's land where the Lord's tabernacle now stands, and make for yourself a possession among us. And you do not rebel against the Lord, or rebel against us, by building an altar other than the altar of the Lord our God. Did not Achan, son of Zerah, break faith in the matter of the devoted things, and wrath fell upon the whole congregation of Israel? He did not perish alone for his iniquity. And the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh said in answer to the heads of the families of Israel, "The Lord, the God of gods, the Lord, the God of gods, he knows, let Israel himself know. If it was in rebellion or in breach of faith towards the Lord, do not spare us today, for building an altar to turning away from following the Lord. Or if we did so to offer burnt offerings or great offerings or offerings of well-being on it, may the Lord himself take vengeance. No, we did it from fear that in time to come your children might say to our children, 'What have you to do with the Lord, the God of Israel?' For the Lord has made the Jordan a boundary between us and you, the Reubenites and the Gadites. You have no portion in the Lord. So your children might make our children cease to worship the Lord. Therefore we said, let us now build an altar, not for burnt offering, nor for sacrifice, but to be a witness between us and you, and between the generations after us, that we do perform the service of the Lord in his presence with our burnt offerings and sacrifice and offerings of well-being, so that your children may never say to our children in time to come, you have no portion in the Lord.' And we thought, if this would be said to us or to our descendants in time to come, we could say, 'Look at this copy of the altar of the Lord, which our ancestors made, not for burnt offerings, nor for sacrifice, but to be a witness between us and you.' Far be it for us that we should rebel against the Lord, or turn away this day from following the Lord by building an altar for burnt offering, grain offering, or sacrifice, other than the altar of the Lord our God that stands before his tabernacle. When the priest Phinehas and the chief of the congregation, the heads of the families of Israel who were with him, heard the words that the Reubenites and the Gadites and the Manassites spoke, they were satisfied. The priest Phinehas, son of Eleazar, said to the Reubenites and the Gadites and the Manassites, "Today we know that the Lord is among us, because you've not committed this treachery against the Lord. Now you have saved the Israelites from the hand of the Lord." Then the priest Phinehas, son of Eleazar, and the chiefs returned from the Reubenites and the Gadites in the land of Gilead to the land of Canaan, to the Israelites, and brought back the word to them. The report pleased the Israelites, and the Israelites blessed God and spoke no more of making more war against them, to destroy the land where the Reubenites and the Gadites were settled. The Reubenites and the Gadites called the altar Witness, for they said, "It's a witness between us that the Lord is God." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Okay, so what happened there? Well, as the people under Moses were going towards the promised land, they were just about to enter it, and these two tribes, the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh, and the other ones, whoever they were, the Gadites and the Reubenites and the Gadites and half tribe of Manasseh. I'm confusing it now. I'll start again. As they're about to approach the promised land, 2.5 tribes, half the Manassites, the Gadites, the Reubenites, said, "Hang on, Moses, we'd rather, if possible, can we stay just the east side of the River Jordan, and everyone else will go in and take the promised land?" And Moses said to them, "That's fine, but when the conquest happens, you can't get out of the military service here. You've got to send your soldiers over and help," which they duly did. What's happened now in chapter 22 is that all the conquest has been completed, and now is the time for the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half tribe Manasseh to go back to where they were before. And Joshua says, "Thank you, that's fine, you can do that. You have been faithful, you've done the service, you've helped, we helped you get your land there, you've helped us get our land here. That's absolutely fine. Feel free, go back in peace. And by the way, while you're there, you can take some wealth with you as well too." But before he goes, he says to them, "You have been faithful to now," and that's great. But he says, as he always says, in verses 1 to 8, make sure to remain faithful going forward. You're going to be slightly away from the main people of Israel, so to speak, so make sure that you remain faithful, You've been good up to now, you've helped everyone else, you've been part of a survivor, don't stop being faithful. And to remind you of the faithfulness of God in the past to you, here's some wealth to go with you. So thanks very much. Well done, guys. You've done your bit. You can go back and you can go back to where before and inhabit your land, the east side of the River Jordan. That's absolutely fine. So that's the first bit. Then you get this rather strange episode to do with this great big high altar. The 2.5 tribes that go the east side of the Jordan, they built this enormous altar called Witness. And for the people on the other side, on the west side, it doesn't look good. Firstly, it looks like these 2.5 tribes have gone off their own thing and they're now doing idolatry. They're now worshipping false gods. It looks like that. It also looks like they're doing something in rebellion as well to us, because he's saying, we have an altar at Shiloh. If you build another one out there, it's almost like in opposition. It's almost like dividing the people. So on the one hand, it looks like this altar looks like they're doing idolatry. It also looks like they're being rebellious against. So they feel like it looks like they're sinning against God, and they're sinning against the rest of the people as well. So they send this guy called Phinehas over, and Phinehas basically goes over with an army, and essentially with a view to attacking them. And what he says to these 2.5 tribes is quite interesting. He says, look, firstly, it looks uncannily like the sin of Achan, which you may remember in chapter 7 of Joshua, going back for that few weeks. And that was when they conquered Jericho, and they'd been told not to plunder the stuff, and Achan did it anyway, and got duly punished for it, and it caused a lot of trouble. And Phinehas says it looks like that. He also reminds them of a sin of a place called Peor in Numbers and chapter 25, when they worshipped the false gods and so on. And as a result, a plague fell on the whole land, for which he says they've never really truly recovered. So it looks like so Phinehas says to these 2.5 tribes, by building this altar, A, it looks like idolatry. B, it looks like rebellion against the rest of the people of Israel. It looks like the sin of Achan. It looks like the sin of Peor, and also this kind of sin brings dishonor and brings judgment on everyone, the whole lot, not just you. So as a result, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, goes over with a battle. with an army, with to taking these people on in battle. To which the 2.5 tribe respond, actually, it's not like that at all. All it basically is you guys are over there, we're over here, and we don't want to, we want to carry on worshipping, we want to worship the same God, but we don't want in future the guys on the other side to look down on us and say we're not part of God's people and so on. So to reinforce the fact that we are part of God's people, we've got this kind of copy altar here to kind of prove that we're still very much part of everything. And explanation pleases Phinehas, and he goes home and everyone's rejoicing. And they're rejoicing, I suppose, for a variety of reasons. First, they're rejoicing because the people of Israel all rejoice, partly because they know that God is continuing to be faithful on the other side of the Jordan too. Secondly, the rejoicing is that there is peace and there isn't going to be a battle. But I think the other thing to rejoice in is the presence of God here. That thanks to God and thanks to the faithfulness of God, a war that was due to happen doesn't happen. And I do think often in church life and in the big church life and in church's life, often if we can just talk and understand and see where each other's coming from, settle things in an amicable, communicating way, rather than through throwing brickbats at each other. And I do often think that if people can just talk and sometimes just listen to what people are doing and what people are really going, people understand where people are coming from, we can save ourselves a whole lot of strife. And actually, God's presence is not just shown by growth. It's not just shown by seeing people come to faith. It's not just shown by acts of service and so on. It's also shown by reconciliation, and that is a sign that God is at work too. So lots in this little chapter here, or this long chapter here. Firstly, there's 2.5 tribes being allowed to go the other side, but Joshua says, be careful. You've been faithful up to now. Remain faithful going forward. And to remind you of this, here's some wealth to take with you. They build this altar and it looks bad. It looks like they're idolatry and it looks like they're being rebellious and so on. Hence the army gets sent over and Phinehas points out how bad this looks. But they talk to each other. They have a discussion. They find out what's really going on the east side of the Jordan. And then everyone rejoices because peace breaks out. And there is peace across the land. Friends, I hope that makes sense. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Do make comments at the bottom. I'm happy to answer questions. I hope that's helpful. Have a lovely, enjoy your Tuesday. God bless and